I think most of us think about negotiation as, again, soft skills and behavioral patterns, and you never know what people are going to do, and it's a very emotional sort of a thing. And we understand that negotiators today are very fact-based, and we study buyer behavior, what we call the moment of truth. The moment when a buyer and seller are sitting across from one another finalizing the deal, and we studied that moment of truth in 19 countries for 2 years and tracked things that buyers say to sellers in that moment of truth. And what shocked us after 2 years in 19 countries is that 97% of what buyers say to sellers can be anticipated and falls into two categories. And in fact, the most common negotiator tactic in the world is I can get the same thing from someone else cheaper. And the two categories are referring to an alternative, usually attempting to commoditize your offering, and then using that alternative leverage to ask for a concession or demand concession. So what does that mean for negotiators? If we know within 97% probability, not the exact words that will be said, but the fact that buyers will refer to their alternative and then use that alternative leverage to push for further concessions, what can we do with that? Well, I tell you, first of all, we shouldn't be surprised that or knocked back on our heels when a buyer says, I can get the same thing cheaper from someone else. We should be surprised if we walked in and the customer said, you know, your solution is so much better than everyone else, you're not charging enough. That's what should surprise us. So we need to be prepared, we need to know this is coming, we need to have the data to go after same thing, and we need to have the data to go after cheaper. We need to start doing that earlier in the sales process, what we call fire prevention, start changing that conversation up front, knowing where it will end up, and then it still will happen some in the back end, and we need to have the same data to be able to firefight on the back end when we hear these sorts of buyer tactics.